There is a lot of deserved hype around the first Ghost Rider and Khonshu, the combination of which I expect you'll see all over the ladder for at least the next few days. But for those of you that aren't into picking up the new card immediately or want to have a similar experience, trust me when I say this, we have Khonshu at home. This is a long overdue deck breakdown on the Denish Hela build, and the reason it is called the Denish Hela build is because that is the name of the player who has been basically one-tricking this very unique attempt at Hela throughout every metagame. Whether or not the normal Hela deck was good, whether or not the normal Hela deck was bad, he has been playing this in High Infinite. It has become his signature deck, and I think it's probably time to try to explain it to the best of my ability and talk about why it makes sense right now. So baseline, normal Hela, the easy mode Scar version of the deck, is not nearly as playable because the premise of every Hela deck is that it is going to always consistently go over the top of mid-range decks. This is no longer possible when you are playing a deck that just saw about 9 points of power removed from its average good draw. However, if you are playing this version of the deck, you are still able to maintain the similar dynamic of being very confident when your opponent plays a Scream or a Sam Wilson or you see the Agamotto animation, because you are going to be able to, in most games, get to a board state that is just too large for them to reasonably compete with. Now, this is a Hela deck, but in my opinion, it is just as much a ramp or cheat deck as it is a Hela deck. You are using Corvus Glaive both as a discard tool and a ramp tool to enable you to play a 5-drop on 4, maybe that's Blink, maybe it goes and gets the Infinite, and then a 6-drop, like a giant Gore, on turn 5. What this does is make you much more than your average Hela deck. You are able to win games just off the power of the cards you play. Of course, the power of Blink and Jubilee in terms of cheating big stats onto the board should not be overlooked. Finally, the last package you're going to really have to contend with is the Odin package. Odin is a very powerful enabler or finisher in this deck. For example, let's say you play a Corvus Glaive. You can then put a Hela in the Corvus Glaive lane on turn 5, Odin that lane, discard 2 more cards, Hela them back. You can even do things like, with a discarded Odin and Hela, play a Ghost Rider, knowing that you will either get the Hela back or you will get the Odin, which will trigger the Ghost Rider again. In addition, Odining Gambit Hela lanes is also very powerful, discarding an extra card, destroying an extra guy, and reviving that card you discarded. If you want a real canary in the coal mine, or I guess whenever you really want to look at when Hela got good, I think this is likely the most proximate cause. Hela was not nearly as good of a deck before it gained the ability to effectively target the card it just drew and discard that card. Blade in this deck is one of your few actual targeted discard enablers. The rest of your stuff is pretty random, so making sure your Blade hits something like the Infinite, making sure you keep in mind, like, oh, I already have a 6 in Hela, maybe I want to target a 5 with the Blade. Things of that nature. Because of the way Hela works now, I think a lot of people aren't used to planning with a Hela deck. They're just used to dumping all the stuff into Hela and then just figuring it out from there. But this is a deck that has a curve that is actually very reasonable to get like a 4, a 5, and a 6 into Hela. And of course, you have a Ghost Rider, which can dodge that multiple 6s restriction. So if you have a 4, a 5, and a 6 in the Hela, there's actually a chance that if you discard a second 6, the Ghost Rider could bring back one of the 6s, and then Hela will bring back yet another of the 6s. This is generally the way in which this deck catches people off guard. Blade is an obviously important piece of that because the rest of your discard is random, so you're going to want to pick a card that goes well out of Hela with those random cards that you already put into it. Iron Patriot is literally just here for value. We play Iron Patriot because it is a thing that we can actually win. Like, we could play Iron Patriot into a Corvus Glaive and win that. We could play Iron Patriot into a Gambit and win that. And that's just good. Like, we are very much a deck that is not always going to be Hela-ing. And the worst case scenario for Iron Patriot is we get like a 4 or something, and then we discard that 4 off a Corvus and we can bring it back later. That's kind of what this card is able to bring to this deck. It's important in understanding that this is not a pure combo Hela deck, but a deck that leans far more into being mid-rangey, into playing not necessarily for the board, but just generally this is a deck that cheats stats and cheats interactions. Because you play both Ghost Rider and Hela, a lot of the time you're just very confident in firing off Gambits and just doing what they can do. Firing off a Gambit, Ghost Ridering the thing you brought back, that's a very, very, very powerful turn 3-4 that you have access to. Although it does leave you with like, all right, so then I'm just blinking the Ghost Rider. I already brought back a big thing in that lane, so now I'm getting another big thing in that lane. How am I winning another lane? That's where Iron Patriot can really help you out. But like, this is the kind of thing where it's like, a lot of people look at this card as a high-risk card in a Hela deck, but since you don't actually need to be a Hela deck all of the time, you can just be like a Ghost Rider deck bringing back a Gore or whatever, you don't actually have to care about the downside of this card very much, and you can feel confident just like firing it off and seeing what happens. In my opinion, Corvus Glaive is the most important part of this deck. It's probably like the card that defines it the most outside of maybe Hela. This is a deck that will play Corvus Glaive on basically any turn 2 or turn 3. There is a very, very clear potential downside here, but because you have multiple ways of bringing cards back, because you have so many big guys in the deck and such power that you are able to access, that downside honestly doesn't feel real most of the time. Like, you could discard like the best possible discards for you, or the worst things that you would want to discard, the best discards for your opponent are like getting rid of a Hela and a Gore probably. You're fine with that. You just Ghost Rider one of those back and you're chilling, basically. And if you don't do that, well, I mean, you're still going to be like blinking into maybe the Infinite or whatever. You're going to be playing Legions and Blinks and Jubilees and big stats. And that's really the sort of secret power of this deck, is that everyone kind of thinks you're a locked-in Hela deck because every other Hela deck is all about Hela. This is a deck that can just win normal games and also has a Hela game plan. I'm not going to spend too much time waxing poetic about the power of like Jubilee Blink. I think that we all know that Jubilee Blink has been an extremely powerful and meta-relevant thing before when it was just going and getting big guys in a regular way. That is what is happening here a lot of the time, but it is also, of course, tutoring Hela when you need it. Jubilee is a great card to blink, so is Ghost Rider. Those are your excellent blink targets. And I think a lot of the power of this deck is that it is able to have multiple great 4-cost on reveals that are then great to blink. Ghost Rider is great because he provides a lot of the time at least a 50% chance to bring the Hela that you discarded back, and that is a very powerful thing to do. You have a lot of options with this deck because Ghost Rider is in it in addition to Hela, and that is what enables you to sort of take these branching paths through games in such a way that you might not be playing like a typical Hela deck, and you might instead, like, this game plays like a Black Knight deck. This game plays like a Gambit Ghost Rider kind of game. This game plays like, I'm just going to play like some big guys, and then on the final turn, because I have 7 energy, then I'm going to Gambit Ghost Rider, things like that, right? Like, there's just some really unique stuff that having this card in your deck gives you access to, and while it does make your overall Hela game plan a little less powerful because you are not all in on it, the diversification means that it's much harder for your opponents to understand what it is you're doing, why you're snapping, and if they should be snapping or retreating. Blink sort of brings all the plans that this deck has together in one package. It is a card that can tutor for your Hela. It is a card that can flush away your Ghost Rider or your Jubilee for a much larger body. It is a card that has on its own a very reasonable stat line of 7 power. And of course, because you're a Corvus deck, it is a card that you can very often play on turn 4 with its 5/7 body. And I think that that kind of stuff is just like, this is like a very elite elite role player in this deck. What Blink does is fuse your game plans together. She's good when you're tutoring for Hela because you got some good Corvus discards. She's good when you're not tutoring for Hela and you just want to play like the Infinite off of a Blink if you can. She's good in basically every game plan that this deck has access to. Legion is sort of the flexest of flex spots here, but Hela does tend to get screwed over by locations in meaningful ways. And I think also this is a crucial lesson from Arishem. If you're a deck that has access to energy acceleration to play like a turn 4 Legion, that is the kind of thing that can really screw over opponents in various scenarios. Like, one thing this deck is really good at is it doesn't matter when it happens, you can just turn every lane into Death's Domain, and then, oh, that's really good for you because you're bringing stuff back off Hela and they can't play cards. And so, like, stuff like that is what Legion is really here for. He's a cube thief. He enables you to do what you need to do. I would not call him in any way core, but he's a very nice utility piece with a reasonable body that can catch people off guard and make an already surprising and confusing deck to play against even more surprising and confusing. You can't run too many 6-drops in a Hela deck. As much as we would really want to, we do need to have like a reasonable curve up. Like, we have our 2 4s, we got our 2 5s, we got some 6s. If we wanted to run all 6s, we could try. But the problem is that Hela's only bringing back 1. So we have 2 real spots for big guy that costs 6, and Gore is obviously taking 1. He is very, very large, and in some cases, he can even be bigger than the Infinite. That's really all you should need to hear for putting this card in your deck. This is still a Hela deck. Like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's the most Hela of Hela decks, but it's still a Hela deck, and you're still going to play her a lot. Things Odin can do in this deck. He can repeat in order the on reveals of a lane. The most common thing you'll see here is like Gambit Hela or Corvus Hela. That's a really powerful lane to Odin, but you can even do things like repeating a Blink, and then the Blink will go blink herself if she was the last card you played and go get the 6 out of there. Like, there's some really, really strong stuff that Odin can do in this list. Maybe repeat a Ghost Rider, depending on what the Ghost Rider got back. Like, just a bunch of stuff. There's just a bunch of stuff. So let's say you discarded a couple cards, you have a Ghost Rider, it didn't get Hela, Hela is one of your discarded cards, you can Odin the Ghost Rider going and looking for that Hela to bring back the rest of your discarded cards. Like, there's some stuff that really is strong that this card does, and I think Odin is not even like a card that we're like super excited to bring back off of Hela or whatever. He's actually just a card that we want to be playing in order to do more stuff, and I think Corvus Glaive is so important in part because of this kind of line of play, where it allows us to have these like Corvus Glaive, Hela, Odin the Corvus Hela lane, because we have that extra energy. That's what Odin is bringing to this deck. The Infinite is a 620. We love bringing back the biggest possible bodies, and while Gore can sometimes be bigger, the Infinite is very often going to be quite large. So when I played this list, I went 14-6. That's a 70% win rate for anyone keeping track at home. I don't even think I was snapping it very well. Like, I think I was letting things ride a lot more just to get a chance to get used to the list, and you'll see that in the gameplay. But I think it's worth pointing out that, like, this is a genuinely powerful list. I know there's going to be a bunch of people hyping Khonshu and the first Ghost Rider, and maybe they end up living up to that hype. I don't know. But what I do know is if you want to have the experience of playing an intricate revive 6-drop list, this list is right there, and it has been, at the very least, kind of playable and even actively good a lot of the time for a very long time. And so if you want to devote yourself to a list and really learn it and master it, I think this is a list that will really reward you for doing so, especially as you get to the higher levels of mastery and start really understanding when you can snap in your full range and playing it to its full potential. It's a very powerful list. So for those of you who don't want to go get Khonshu immediately, who don't have Khonshu immediately, who don't have the first Ghost Rider because they didn't log on for some of their high voltage missions, definitely understand. We have Khonshu at home. As always, I have been KMBest. You have been phenomenal. We're going to jump into some gameplay, and I'll see you in the next one. For that. Hello, Dexter. No, it's like the cool kind of Hela, don't worry. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's gonna be fine. Just don't worry about it. We're never in trouble here. I see we've lost that lane. I mean, he's kind of a big fucking guy. I wonder if I'm just supposed to play it middle straight up. That's an on reveal. Oh my god. We got him. Kablamo! Oh my god. That's the worst hit possible. Well, I suppose it's not the worst hit possible, but it's not good. Go right then if we're gonna do it like that. At least they get a rock. So this is Hela. It gets Iron Patriot and a 6-drop. This feels appropriate to me. Oh, they have a Shang in there. Didn't expect it. But I beat that. Alright, cool. Yo, Leviathan SP, thank you. Probably supposed to play Blink left and then hope we got some shit onto the... Blink mid and then hope we got some shit onto the left. Surely this doesn't fail. Fuck. Multiple Ghost Riders is actually probably pretty good. It goes Ghost Rider, Odin, right? What am I doing here? This seems funny. I genuinely have no idea. They lose if that's a Shang. Oh, wait, no. They can still... I don't fucking know anymore. So Shang mid needs Captain Marvel to move there. Yeah, they can't win. Holy shit. There were so many things going on there that were important. What are they snapping about? I'm worried it's like an Alioth, otherwise I would be dark dimensioning this. Fuck. I'm not getting my shit fucking counterplayed again. Oh, cool. Yeah, maybe I should have snapped that back. What do you think, chat? I probably was supposed to snap that back. Revive on the mid lane into Odin, pulling something else that was a blink that was very good. Like, just a bunch of shit. I realize what I'm doing here. That is bad. They're not snapping me. They're still not snapping me. Like, I'm just the most dead that's ever been, you know? Wait, why do I only have 4? Oh, I have to discard both cards? Holy shit. Did we, like, bullshit our way out of this game somehow? Surely not, right? Does the order matter here? I don't know. Hela in the opener means I can just discard whatever and then fill that up. It's like, yeah, you know it sucks, but... I feel like the gamble play is so much funnier. Surely I don't hit Hela again, right? I have no idea. I'm bringing back at least Gambit, Ghost Rider, Hela. I have no idea the orders in which these happen. Okay, any Gambit hit wins the left. Only Jubilee doesn't work. Only Blink doesn't work, I should say. Okay. Yep, we're good. The only hit that did not win me the game there was Blink, and it turns out with the Infinite going in the middle, every hit won